Hello, home healers, and welcome to the herb of the month for September 2025. As we head towards the spring equinox, we are going to be talking about cleavers. Cleavers is in abundance right now in my area. Any of those that live locally, Nepean River is covered with cleavers. It looks like grass in this photo, but there's cleavers all through here. Cleavers is also spelt with an EA, so that's in our common names. You can see there the cleavers, also called sticky willy or goose grass. The botanical name Galium arperin, and from the Rosea family, and the parts that we use for the cleavers are the aerial parts. So that's everything above ground. So let's learn a little bit more about cleavers. Firstly, how do we identify? The easiest way to identify cleavers is the fact that it cleaves to you, almost like Velcro. Once you think you found it, pull it up and you'll see it's got these tiny hooked hairs pretty much all over the plant that will stick to your clothing. The leaves are lance-shaped and they're quite narrow, and as you can see in the picture, they come in like a whirl or a rosette. See how they go around the stem here? And then there's a gap, and the stem here is like a square shape, and it's quite easy to break. It's actually really easy to forage. You just pull it. I do bring some snippers along with me because it can get quite entangled. In fact, cleavers can get turned into almost like a mat covering where it just weaves all over itself and all over other plants as well. Right now, as we're heading into spring, it's quite abundant now in my area that I'm at. So I've been foraging a bit of it just in the last week or so. The doctrine of signatures, this is a way of identifying the herb, but also the medicine that it contains, the healing gifts of a particular herb. So the doctrine of signatures for cleavers, when we look at it, it's got that cleaving or that Velcro-like, what would you call it? I was going to say personality, but it's really easy to pick cleavers the way it sticks to you. I'm actually doing a little video when I went out and foraged, and you can see in the video how it sticks to me, but in the doctrine of signature, it also sticks to the toxins. Sticks to the toxins in our blood, in our lymphatics, and just pulls it out of the body. And it also, when you can think energetically, things that we are holding on to in our body, holding on to emotionally, spiritually, the cleavers as well has that energetic component where it allows just anything that's stagnating in our body just to pull it and move it out. This is why it's such a great spring herb, because spring is the time for detoxification, but it's also the time of letting go and shedding any hard feelings towards people, unforgiveness, all of that stuff. I said that Velcro really is Velcro. So these those little hooked little bristles, they will catch that's what catches the waste through our body. And as I said, it can get almost match-like out in the wild, but it does have that. If you see down here, this is a little bit of what our lymphatic system looks like, and cleavers just crawl along, and it crawls over other plants and through plants and up and down, and it is a bit resemblant of the lymphatic system, and it's also quite moist and watery. Yeah, lush is a good word. And again, that reflects the way that cleavers works on the fluids in the body, and it helps to cool and move those fluids through. Okie dokie. The taste of cleavers, it's slightly sweet and salty. Sweet is a sign of like medicine, the nutrients. It has a slight mucilage quality to it. It's also salty, and salty works well with the fluid balance, and the bitter taste gives a little bit of a hint on that detoxing, slightly triggering that detox pathways, the liver and the kidneys and urinary system. It's actually quite edible. Best cook first, but you can also juice it or put it in smoothies. The energetics of cleavers are very cooling, drying, moving, shifting herbs. So therefore, the tissue states would be hot, inflamed, stagnant, congested. Can you see how those energetics matching with those tissue states. They're going to balance those tissue states. When we look at our actions, we've got alternatives, which is, we call that a blood cleanser. The depurative is a similar word, that cleansing of waste. It's that, again, those cleansing actions. A diuretic, which I've done twice just in case, that moves fluid out through the urinary system. It's an anti-inflammatory. It has that astringents that can tone the tissues, and it's a tonic. So it's a herb that's safe to take long term. These are the chemical constituents, and also here we've got the minerals. It's got the silica. The way there's a stiffness to it as a plant, and even the way it can grow and move up, that's a sign of silica. Think of celery or asparagus or other silica-rich plants. The potassium, that with the fluid balance as well, but calcium, magnesium, potassium. It had affinity with the lymphatic system and the urinary system. They're the two main body systems. In fact, it's one of the best lymphatic herbs, out there. We do have a few lymphatics, but Cleavers is very specific for the lymphatic system and the urinary system. As a secondary, the skin, the blood, and the liver, and the detox pathways. Let's explore that a little bit. When it comes to the lymphatic system, like I said, it's one of the best tonics for the lymph. It moves and clears stagnant lymphs. And so you're going to see stagnancy and any swollenness. It might be just swollen tissue, but in particular swollen glands and just congestion. And you might even have a sluggish immune response. Like everything feels a little toxic. It's well known for its use in like tonsillitis or swollen adenoids or any throat infection that has those swollen glands. Yes, like I said, it's a blood cleanser, just moving, or we have toxins in it, whether that's metabolic waste or from our lifestyle or any byproducts from the inflammatory responses in our body. It gets rid of all that. Spring being the beautiful time for it. Any large lymph nodes around the body, sometimes people can be a bit prone, whether under their arms, their groin, or whatever. Cleavers really helps to get in there and cleave those toxins, cleave into those stagnant areas and pull them out through the body system, through the lymphatics, through the urinary and out of our body. If you're feeling particularly sluggish, that's why at the beginning of spring, once we come out of winter, we've got that more stagnant, want to stay inside and eat heavy stews and that thing. And then once spring hits us, bang, we're ready to shed that sluggishness and get moving. And if you want to use it in that lymphatic system, pokeroot, echinacea, calendula, they're really good partners for Cleavers. If you can use Cleavers on its own, but if you wanted to blend a tea or a tonic or something like that, they're good herbs to mix Cleavers with. In the urinary system, it's a diuretic, and that a diuretic is any herb or medicine that promotes the flow of the urine, so flushing out of the urine. I'm just can hear my air conditioner, which I thought I turned off, and it's clicked in. Hopefully that's not too annoying. Yes, as a diuretic, this can help with edema. If you're somebody that holds onto fluid, your ankles might swell up, your legs might swell up, particularly if you're sitting for a long time or standing for a long time. And getting the herbs that move, have that diuretic that enhance that flow of urine, get the fluids out of your system. That is going to help with your edema. It also soothes irritation, particularly in the urinary tract, and it's in cystitis, which is basically a urinary infection, which could be a UTI. If you're prone to kidney stones or even bladder stones, or we've got to grab the smaller ones, Cleavers can help clear that and stay on top of that. And any mild kidney pain, which can be a sign of an infection. So I'm going to just turn off that. I've got no idea why it turned on. Excuse me for that. Yes, it has that cooling action that we spoke about. Sophia Hall in her book, she also mentions how she likes Cleavers particularly for men. And even when you look at that doctrinal signatures of those long stems, because the male urethra is long urethra, and it can be prone to some of the STIs and STDs, STIs. And cleavers can be good for in particular, the male urethra and the male urinary system, and even help any inflammation that might affect the prostate as well. Cleavers is a herb you can use for that. So we can combine it with dandelion leaf or nettle. That's good kidney urinary support. Yes, that's the urinary system to get those fluids moving, to cool any infections, but also to soothe those tissues as well. Secondary, the skin. Cleavers is known, you might even see it if you look at teas, products that are for the skin. Cleavers is often on there because it helps with the skin by clearing the lymphs. So it takes off that, because the lymphatics being just underneath the skin, when the lymphs are clogged, it can actually cause more things, acne, boils, even like eczema and psoriasis. Particularly if you're looking at the eczema and psoriasis, the yellow dock and burdock, they're two great herbs to mix with cleavers. If anyone in your family or you know somebody that has that, prone to the eczema or psoriasis, or even the acne and the boils as well. Acne and boils, I tend to also acne I sometimes use like a hormonal herb, chaste tree. And boils, I go down that with the hoke root too. Even garlic, because garlic's really good for the boils are just that bigger, more stagnant. But the cleavers in there with those. You can use it on just small wounds or rashes as a compress, or as even make it into an ointment. Yeah, and then with the liver, those detox pathways. This is the herb for now. Beginning of spring, we want to clean our house. We also want to clean the house that we live in, our bodies. So getting onto some cleavers is a great way to detox the body. In oncology support, cleavers actually has a long history for tumors, being used for tumors, particularly the skin and the breasts and even the lymphomic tumors, helping to break them down, move them on. It's also, you can use it if somebody is going through chemotherapy treatment that has that who's quite aggressive, and we just want to get those medicines out of the body. Once they're done whatever they're there to do, we want them out of the body. So we can use cleavers to move the lymphs and help with that whole detox pathways when using modern oncology medicines. How are we going to prepare? Fresh is best when it comes to cleavers. A lot of books will refer to use the fresh, a bit like chickweed in that way. You can make it as a juice. You can actually juice it in a juice. The dose for a juice is about 2 teaspoons a day. Say that you do have eczema or psoriasis or a lot of fluid retention. You could have that every day in a juice, particularly this time of year. The tincture, we make it with the fresh plant. So in the picture here is a tincture that I'm making, where I've just chopped up the plant, and then I've got that mix of, I use ethanol and water, but at home you can just use vodka or brandy. You can also make a infused oil. So if you're somebody who's got a little bit of edema or any of those skin issues, you can actually make a massage oil just to help move any fluid out of the lymphs and through the kidneys, bladder, and out of the body. Yeah. Then you can mix it with a beeswax to make an ointment or a salve, and other great herbs for the skin, chickweed and calendula. You can mix that with the cleavers infused oil. It's also a vegetable. You can eat cleavers. It's best to cook it a bit, otherwise, because it does have all those hairs on it. I'm just going to move myself there so that you can see here. For chronic conditions, cleavers is safe long term. So if you're someone who does suffer from a lot of that fluid retention, that lymphatic stagnancy, psoriasis or eczema or anything like that, it's safe to take the cleavers long term. It's quite a low toxicity. This is a tonic herb. Other tonic herbs are safe and really, like the name suggests, they're tonics for long-term use. Yeah, so that is cleavers. We kind of flew through that, but cleavers just has those really specific areas that it's a wonderful herb for. Thank you for joining me in our school community, the Home Healers, and I look forward to seeing you next month in the Herb of the Month, which I'm not sure what I'll do yet, but also just in the community. So make sure you share if you're out collecting cleavers or making anything with cleavers, juicing cleavers, whatever you're doing with cleavers, please share and let us know. And if you have any questions, reach out as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.